she's going to start to think that she's crazy. Then little by little, that's exactly what's going to happen to her. Now, I'm not going to let that happen, Larry. And if you doubt her, then maybe you ought to join the other side.
Look, I don't doubt my sister. You know, just let your guard down, Sandy. You know, we're both in this together.
Well, then stop trying to punch holes in her story.
Look, the only thing we know is that whatever happened in the shack leads right back to Claxton.
Well, as much as I enjoy being best and truest, dearest, I had hoped of becoming something more than a friend.
Well, that's easy. I'll take a part in the movie.
No, it's beneath you.
Well, it's not beneath you, is it? I want to work with you. A team, always and forever. Isn't that what you said?
Yeah, a team, but eventually. No?
Why don't you just come right out and say it? You're trying to dump me, aren't you? I loved that doll. I took her everywhere with me. She was really my only friend. And that's why when my dad... Yes? When my daddy would get drunk and start tearing her apart, that's why I could never stop crying. Dr. Cole, the doll in the shack was real, and it was big, and it was horrible. It couldn't have been real, though, could it?
Why don't you tell me?
It could have been a person. It could have been a person dressed up in a costume, you know? When I was a little girl, I always wanted to dress up on Halloween like that because I wanted to match my doll.
But you're not a little girl now, are you, Blaine?
Somebody could have found out what that doll meant to me, and they could have figured out that they could use it to scare me.
Who would know that?
I don't know. Nobody knew how I felt. Not even Larry. I only ever told my diaries. I was too ashamed to tell anyone else.
Do you still have them?
No. I burned them all before I left Claxton.
Blaine, I know how important it is to you to prove that you saw that doll. But to me, it doesn't matter that you saw the doll or that you didn't see the doll. The effect on you is the same. I want to explore the private thoughts that you had in your diary. Your father, for instance. The man who ripped up your favorite doll. How did you feel about him?
Dr. Cole, you might have sympathized with him. You might have even understood him. But I always hated him.
Brian.
I'm sorry I'm late, but it took me a while to find this place.
I'm sorry. Not one of our usual haunts. I just couldn't risk seeing anyone I knew.
Now, what is it? You sounded so upset on the phone.
Brian,
All the secrecy.
I just simply have to talk to someone. I can't keep this inside any longer.
Well, what is it? Cecile giving you problems again?
Yes. No. I mean, it's about Cecile, but she's not at fault, Brian. I didn't know who to turn to. You see, I can't talk to Mac. You're the only person in the whole world I can trust.
Slow down. Now, I'm right here, and I'm ready and willing to listen.
You promise that whatever I tell you will be kept in the strictest confidence.
Are you consulting me professionally?
No. As a friend. As a very dear friend. I hope you won't be too harsh on me, Brian. You'll always be my friend, won't you?
Elena, you know nothing could ever change that. No matter what your problem is, I know the kind of woman you are. Now, does all this have to do with Cecile?
Brian, I am so ashamed.
Well, the fact that Cecile is your daughter is nothing to be ashamed of, Elena. I know you had to keep it a secret. I understand that. You were a woman in a very difficult position.
But, Brian, you only know half of the truth. I am Cecile's mother. But what you don't know, what nobody knows, is that the Count de Polignac was not her father.
This part of Another World is brought to you by Coast Soap, the refreshing soap that brings you back to life. Coast Deodorant Soap, the eye-opener.
You'll forgive me if I'm a little confused. Didn't you just tell Cecile?
I have told Cecile lies and half-lies. You see, the only one who knows the whole... Well, the only one who knows the whole truth except...
Except? Oh, the real father.
I met him in Paris, Brian, when I was very young. And very romantic. And very in love with Paris. And he was a beautiful part of a very wondrous time.
And of course he couldn't help but love you.
Well, I thought he did. But I was wrong. I was a very naive young woman who found herself pregnant and alone. And then I met the Count, who was very good to me and wanted to help me, see me through the pregnancy, wanted to marry me on one stipulation, that we wait until the child was born, that I give up the child and never see it again.
I can't believe you agreed to that.
I don't think I knew what I was doing. And then when that nurse put Cecile into my arms, well, I knew I couldn't do that, so I arranged for her to be adopted by very good friends at the embassy. That way I could go on seeing my daughter without anyone, not even the Count, suspecting.
But did marrying a Count mean so much to you?
He was incredibly kind, Brian. And it allowed me to keep Cecile in a very loving home, thinking that someday I would claim her.
But that day never came.
When her adopted parents were killed, I convinced the Count then to bring her into our home. By then he wanted a child. Well, of course, he never knew Cecile was mine. If he ever suspected that I had violated that agreement.
But after the Count died...
Brian, it was too late. It was too late. I had told Cecile so many lies. I was afraid that she'd be so angry with me if I told her the truth. And don't you see, that's what I'm afraid of now. Her father has come forth and wants to claim Cecile as his daughter.
The man has the nerve to contact you after all these years?
Oh, that's one thing. He was never without nerve.
Well, what can I do to help? Can I contact someone in Paris?
Brian, he's not in Paris. He's right here. In Bay City. Cecile's father is Louis Saint-Georges.
And your father would hurt you.
And everything that was close to me. My doll, my cat. I could never stop him. Nobody could, not even Larry.
Did you blame your brother for not helping you?
No. Larry was so good to me, I could never blame him.
He was your brother. He didn't come to your rescue. I think you had every good reason to resent him.
No, well, maybe a little bit.
He could have tried.
But he was so little. What could he do? It wasn't Larry I saw in that shack anyway. It was a rag doll. Now, how can I explain seeing a rag doll? How can I explain thinking that I was in a farmhouse in Claxton?
Excuse me, Dr. Cole. You all right, babe?
If you could come back later, Sandy?
I just wanted to let you know that Larry and I are going over to the shack today. And if we have to rip the place apart, we are going to find the proof.
Honey,
We'll
what if
show
you
what was
can't
done to
find
you.
the proof? What if you can't?
Baby, I'm not going to stop until I do. Now, if it takes me 10 years, I will find whatever it takes to show everybody what happened to you. And once we've got that, sweetheart, we will find whoever did this, and they will pay 5 times more than was ever done to you. I swear I will see them in hell before I'm done. I'm sorry, Dr. Cole. You know, just sometimes I get so mad, I think I could strangle whoever did this.
What did you say, Blaine?
Buzz. Before he died, he tried to kill me. I dreamt about that when I was in the farmhouse. What I thought was the farmhouse.
Oh, Blaine, everybody has feelings like this, but most of us let them out in some way, just like you did, Sandy. It harms us when we hold back our feelings.
Are you telling me that I've kept everything inside until it's finally come out in nightmares?
It wasn't a dream, Blaine. It really happened, and we're going to prove it.
I hope you can, Sandy. But my job is to help Blaine understand her feelings so that maybe we can begin to distinguish between what was real and what is imagined.
All right, Doctor. You find your clues, I'll find mine. You take it easy, sweetheart. Because nothing is ever going to happen to you again. I promise you that.
Well, aren't you going to ask me my real feelings about Sandy?
All right, Blaine. How do you really feel about Sandy?
Dr. Cole, that's easy. I love him.
I studied this picture, I memorized that face, but I haven't seen it around Bay City.
Albert Nordman was much younger when this photo was taken. Try to imagine him without the German uniform and with gray hair now.
Mr. St. George, there's just no sign of him. The man must have slipped into town and settled quietly so no one would know where he was.
But we must know where he is and what his next move is. We must find him before he finds us.
He's already found us. He or his henchmen have stolen one painting. They won't rest till they get the entire collection. Again, I urge you to leave Bay City.
Oh, Vincent. I've come many miles and many years to settle this with my daughter. And I will not leave till that is done.
Well, Norden may have different ideas.
Very strange. I have never met him. He was a high-ranking German officer in Paris, and I was a boy. A signal guard at a suburban railroad crossing. Strange, huh? All these years, and our lives have been tangled.
Who else was there with him?
His son, Frederick. I had this photo sent from Zurich. He has the dress and the bearing of a Swiss banker, but he is as dangerous as his father.
Why don't you run then?
Oh, no. I've had enough of that. I'm going to stand and fight, and this time, my way.
Oh,
I'm looking for Cass Winthrop. Is he here?
Who's calling?
His sister. He knows that I'm coming, but I didn't say when. You must be Louis. Cass has told me so much about you.
Of course, and you are Stacy Cass's little sister, huh?
Oh, yes, didn't he tell you I was coming? Well, that's just like Cass. I mean, but the least I expected was a ticker tape parade and some champagne.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. We are all out of ticker tape, but perhaps Vincent can get you some champagne, huh?
Coffee. Coffee would be wonderful.
Okay. Coffee, Vincent, please. Go.
Please don't let me interrupt.
Oh, that's all right. This is Mr. Hastings.
Nice to meet you.
We were just concluding our new business venture. I'm sure you can proceed, Mr. Hastings.
Oh, yes, right away, but I'd like to acquire some assistance.
I feel confident that you can handle this by yourself. Just make sure that you check the banks and any of the newer businesses in town.
I'll do the best I can.
Good. Thank you very much. Au revoir. Well, now, I must call Cass and tell him immediately that you are here.
Oh, maybe I should go to my hotel first and freshen up a bit.
Hotel? Oh, well, Cass would never hear of that, and besides, there is more than enough room for you here.
That's very kind of you.
No, please. You are new to Bay City. I am new to Bay City. We are both strangers, and we must stick together, huh?
Well, since you put it that way.
Good.
Thank you.
Welcome. Now, let me call Cass.
Oh, Elena. Elena. Come on. It's all right.
No, it's not all right. Now I've gone and disappointed you, too. That charming woman you loved to take to lunch. Not the lady you thought she was.
She's every bit a lady. I only wish the lady had confided in me years ago.
Brian, I can't lose Cecile's love now. Not when I have come so very, very close to winning it. Brian, I want you to talk to Louis for me. To tell him that I just need a little more time, you see, until Cecile and I become close again.
Elena, the closer you get, the harder it'll be.
You see, Brian, he'll listen to you. Everyone does. Even I do.
Oh, Elena. If you only would. All right. All right, I'll talk to Louis.
Oh, Brian, thank you. Oh, you are my best, my very truest, and my very dearest friend.
Well, as much as I enjoy being best and truest and dearest, I had hoped of becoming something more than a friend.
Well, I'm no lawyer, but I've seen a contract or two, and this one looks ironclad to me.
Yeah. Maybe after I win a few Oscars, I'll dig up a view of the bay and put it in a retrospect of my early work.
So, when are you leaving us?
I've booked on the first plane back tonight. My agent's got a meeting lined up tomorrow. Prestige producers, name cast, good financing.
Really? They're apart from me in it?
No, you wouldn't. Actually, it's the Pits. And direct a low-budget horror flick called Brothers in Blood. About an entire fraternity that gets hacked up by some lunatic because he isn't pledged. What, you think I'm kidding?
No, I think it'll probably get better distribution than A View of the Bay.
Well, at least you two can laugh about something.
I mean, if we don't laugh, we're gonna cry.
Tell me about it. Well, I guess I'll probably see you before you leave. Chris said something about one last swim before they drain the pool.
Nick? Okay.
I didn't realize you were leaving so soon.
I was gonna tell you, privately.
Well, I'm glad I know. Maybe I can still get a ticket.
Why don't you, I think maybe, why don't you wait for a little bit? I mean, you should wait around when Liz is feeling so low, you know?
Well, okay, when were you planning on me coming out?
Well, We'll just kind of leave that open. You can call me when you're ready.
Okay, where do I call?
Oh, number right here. Here. There you go.
It's your answering service.
It's the easiest way to get a hold of me. Just call, leave your number, and I'll get back to you as fast as I can.
Oh, Vic. We have so much time together when I come move in.
You know something? I've been thinking about that a lot. I'm not the roommate type. I mean, I don't do dishes, I don't do my share of the laundry, and I don't want to tie you down so soon. I think you should see some of the world for a while.
I've seen enough of the world. I want to spend my time with you.
But you're not going to see me at all. I mean, I'm doing this new movie. You're going to be alone most of the time.
Well, that's easy. I'll take a part in the movie.
No, that's beneath you.
Well, it's not beneath you, is it? I want to work with you. A team, always and forever. Isn't that what you said?
Yeah, a team. But eventually, no.
Why don't you just come right out and say it? You're trying to dump me, aren't you?
Of course I'm not dumping you.
This is just because I wouldn't sleep with you, isn't it?
Why can't you be like every other actress in the world? Why do you have to be so sweet all the time? Sit down. Sit down. Now listen, I'm not used to looking out for anybody but myself. What's good for me is always good for the other guy, but I'll tell you something. I'm going to tell you something that's good for you.
You are good for me.
Wrong! I cannot believe I'm saying this. Now listen. I care about you, Julia, and I'm going to tell you. Stay away from me and stay away from L.A. You're not ready for either of us.
I don't want to stay in Bay City. I want to work. I want to be a part of the world.
You will be, but L.A. is a place where you go to put what you've learned to work when you're ready. And if you're not ready, that place will eat you up and spit you out. I've seen it happen. I don't want to see it happen to you.
But I belong with you. I mean, we had it all planned. It was perfect.
All right. I gotta talk to Cass and Jason. I got a plane to catch. I'll be in touch, all right? I'll never lose touch with you.
Dick, what's the matter with her?
The kid hates goodbyes, you know? So do I. Julia?
Jamie!
Oh, it's okay.
I know it sounds impossible, but everything's gonna be okay.
So what went wrong? You know, I always liked George Lomax.
I know you did. He wore expensive suits, gold pins in his collars, and had a very impressive portfolio.
Well, that would be enough from some women.
Yeah, but those women didn't live with him. I did. Up until the morning when I looked past the perfectly sectioned grapefruit at the Capitol Club and had the overwhelming desire to squish it in his face.
Oh, Stacy, I hope you didn't.
No. No, I simply said goodbye, politely, after summing up the pluses and the minuses of our relationship. We parted like two attorneys settling out of court. Then I decided to part from New York and my job at Dunbridge, Fox, and Dunbridge. Yeah.
Stacy, it shows a singular lack of career planning to turn your back on a prestigious New York law firm before you even have your next job.
Cass, I tried it the Dunbridge way, the decorum, the polish, the well-heeled clients, clocking in my time to the tenths of hours. I want to be part of something alive. I want to practice law.
Oh, Stacy, every Winthrop runs from money and society once in their life. Remember my days in the Peace Corps?
Of course I do. My brother, the hero.
Now, let's get one thing straight, okay? You've come here to talk to Brian Bancroft about finding legal work in Bay City. That's fine. Defend the weak and the poor, and do it with my blessing. Just understand that I'm not the same kid who came into your room that night with stars in his eyes. Is that clear?
You've grown up, haven't you?
I found myself a nice place here, and I mean to make the most of it. It's your turn to save the world.
So what do you think, Larry? Could this look like your old place back in Claxton?
Times were tough, Sandy, but they weren't this tough.
No, man, I mean the shape of the place, you know, the overall layout.
Yeah, it's not that different. But in order to make this look like the farm, you'd have to know what the old place really looked like. Cecile wouldn't know that. Nobody would unless they came from Claxton.
Someone like Alma.
Alma, come on, Sandy. After Mama left, she was the only thing that stood between my pa and Blaine. She protected her. She loved her just like she was her own kid.
Yeah, well, that was before her brother was killed. I mean, Alma could be carrying a grudge.
You know, the thing is that Blaine's problem started long before Alma ever showed up in town.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Anyway, she's been real good to Blaine since Blaine got sick.
Yeah, so let's concentrate on finding some evidence. You know, evidence first, suspects later.
All right, don't overlook anything, though, man. I mean, you know, a burnt match might mean something, okay?
Yeah. Sandy, you know, this could take all day, and even then...
I don't care if it takes all day or all week, Larry. We've got to find something that proves that Blaine wasn't making this up. Or...
What is it? Did you find something?
Did I find something? You bet your sweet life I found something. Take a look at that.
What? Sandy, don't get your hopes up. I mean, this just might be a piece off the last owner's slipcovers.
Yeah, listen, it could also be something from a rag doll's costume, right? Larry, we got to start somewhere. If we can't prove that what Blaine was saying is true, do you know what's going to happen? Sooner or later, she's going to start to think that she's crazy, and then little by little, that's exactly what's going to happen to her. Now, I'm not going to let that happen, Larry. And if you doubt her, then maybe you ought to join the other side.
Look, I don't doubt my sister. You know, just let your guard down, Sandy. You know, we're both in this together.
Well, then stop trying to punch holes in her story.
Look, the only thing we know is that whatever happened in the shack leads right back to Claxton.
You know, you're right. So maybe we're looking in the wrong place. And maybe the right place is in Wyoming.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Right, that's right. I mean, if we can find a connection between your old hometown and Bay City, then we'd really have something, wouldn't we?
Right. Now, the obvious connection is Alma. But we know that's not right. So let's dig a little deeper. Say Cecile gets in touch with a newspaper in Claxton. Says she's doing a little article in Bravo, wants to know about some small-town lifestyle. She can get all the pictures, all the interviews she wants. Totally innocent to everybody, except Cecile.
Well, Cecile's got a lot of charm and a lot more money. She could probably get enough people to tell her all she'd need. And I think that we have finally figured out how she did it.
So wait a minute, where are you going?
Well, I'm going to go tell Blaine that we might be taking a little trip to Wyoming. And I'm going to talk to Dr. Cole, see what she thinks of the idea.
Sandy, I'd go with you, but it's so close to Clarice's due date.
Hey, listen, man, don't worry about it. You take care of Clarice, and I'll take care of Blaine.
Okay.
You know, man, this is the first time in a long time that I felt like I could really help. At least I can give her some hope.
It's just tea.
Yeah, I thought you wanted tea.
Yeah, I know, but I thought you put something stronger in it. Like arsenic.
Oh, Julia. Julia. Oh, Julia, darling. Jamie called me. I came just as soon as I could. Now, lean against me, darling. Just cry. Just cry.
I don't want to cry, Grandma. I don't want to be held like a baby. I just want...
Julia, please. Oh, Jamie.
I think she wants to be left alone, Liz.
You know, when Milo left, and I didn't think I could ever face anybody again. Julia made everything so much better.
I wanted to try and do the same for her.
Ah. Oh. Anybody seen Julia?
Yeah, we've all seen her, Vic. You know, maybe you should see her. See what a swell job you did with her.
I don't know what you're talking about.
A girl just ran out of here heartbroken.
Before you all stone me to death, may I say something? I came back here because I was worried about her.
Oh, yeah, you were so worried about her. That's why you told her to get lost, right?
I told her to stay here and not go out to L.A. and end up like every other teeny-bopper loser on Sunset Boulevard.
When have you ever been concerned for any of your conquests?
Since I met Julia. That girl can really be something. She just needs a little time. She doesn't need me.
Why don't you tell her that?
Well, I tried. When it comes to being honest with women, don't expect miracles, okay? Besides, it might mean a lot more if it came from somebody she trusted, like you, James. Excuse me. Catch a plane. Haven't even packed.
Who would have thought it? Vic Strang. Just an old marshmallow. There's nothing for me to do around here anymore. This house. It seems so empty without the actors, the crew, all the other... If Junior comes back here instead of going home, would you ask her to call me there, please? I will. I'll be waiting. Bye. I'm going to miss this place, too.
Is that all you're gonna miss?
It depends on you, doesn't it?
I guess it does.
Guess what?
Honey, I'm really not in the mood for
Guess what is made out of cloth and looks like this?
Where did you get that?
Back at the shack. Does it mean anything to you?
Does it mean anything to me? Yes, it does. This is from the costume. It's from the ragdoll costume. I know it. Oh,
right.
Thank you,
Hey, how about a little of that for me? I mean, I found that.
Oh, God, I love you. Oh, thank you. This is just when I was ready to give up, too.
No, honey. No, we are just getting started.
Well, who's wearing this? Who wore this horrible thing?
I don't know, but I think we should do what your brother suggests. Forget about suspects and concentrate on the evidence.
Yeah, honey, I have been. You know those voices I heard? My father's voices when I was locked in the closet.
Yeah.
All those horrible things he was saying to me. No one ever heard him say those things. Not even Larry.
Babe, you must have told somebody about it.
No. Just my diary.
Your diary?
Yeah. I used to keep lots of diaries when I was a little kid. From the time I was 9 till the time I left. But I burned them all the day I left for Bay City.
Babe, maybe you didn't burn all your diaries. Maybe one of those diaries was left at the farmhouse until somebody found it.
Oh, honey, that has to be it, doesn't it?
Yeah, listen, it's something that we have to check out, Blaine, and to do that, that means we're going to have to go back to Wyoming. Now, I'm going to check with Dr. Cole and see if she thinks it's a good idea for you to travel.
No. I don't think I could stand to go back there.
Blaine, if you can't go, I'll go alone. But finally, we've turned things around. Now we're the hunters.
Will you come visit me in L.A.? I mean, if they make a movie out of your next book.
Yeah, I will. I'll visit you.
I will never forgive you if you don't win a Nobel Prize. Jamie?
I know. You too.
Bancroft, it was very kind of you to see me.
Now, first of all, the name is Brian. And Cass Winthrop's sister is always welcome in this office. And after the glowing words that Cass said about you, I've been very anxious to meet you.
Glowing words from my brother?
Does that sound strange?
Well, we haven't always seen eye to eye.
Oh, well, when it comes to your legal talents, you have no greater champion. Please, sit down.
Well, thank you.
And from your letters of recommendation, my only question is, what has our little town to offer such a high-powered attorney?
Oh. Well, let's say the high-powered world of Wall Street bored me to tears.
Really? What doesn't bore you?
People? People with little money and big problems.
Well, you forgive me for saying so, but that does sound strange coming from a Winthrop who was an editor of the Harvard Law Review. I only wish I had something to offer you in the city administration.
I was hoping you would.
Well, I'm not going to let you leave us now that we have you here. I have an idea. An old friend of mine, John Randolph, he died a few years ago. He had the kind of practice you're talking about, but it was never properly picked up. Now, if you're interested, I'll do everything I can to help you get established.
Well, I couldn't ask you to do that.
Oh, now, you'll need an office, of course, and some furniture, and I'll talk to some people.
Whoa, and you get carried away even faster than I do.
Well, we'll talk about it at dinner tonight. Somehow you landed here and Bay City needs you. And it's my job to keep you here.
Well, I think it's splendid that Stacy plans on settling down here.
Yep, she's come to town determined to be her own woman, and she has her own ideas about things.
Sounds like the Stacy I used to know. Something tells me you're not terribly thrilled with the idea of her arrival.
Well, let's just say that Stacy and I got along best when we captained opposite sides of the family 4th of July tug-of-war contests.
Cass, she's grown up. Maybe she's looking for someone else to play tug-of-war with. Yo,
Mac,
Oh, Liz, hello.
Elaine, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I need to talk to Mac.
Sorry, he's out all day, sales meeting.
No, he can't. I have to see him today, please. It's very important.
What is it, Liz? What's wrong?
Well, you're a fine one to talk. Because of you, my granddaughter is absolutely dissolved in tears, and everybody else's life has just fallen to pieces.
I beg your pardon?
Liz, I'm sorry you're so upset. Just calm down a
Cass
bit.
has ruined the distribution of View of the Bay. Therefore, Julia can't get to Hollywood with Vic Strang. Not that I mind that. I really didn't want her to go. But, of course, she wants to go very much, and I can't stand to see her disappointed or hurt. She just
Liz, I'm really very sorry to hear that Julia's so upset. But my first obligation was to Mac and to his investment. Now, you can't blame me for looking out for Mac, can you?
For heaven's sake, no, of course not. I mean, I care about Mac. Mac has always been very good to me.
And he always will be.
Elena, do you know that Mac said he'd keep my job open for me. I really do need a job.
Liz!
Well, I think a woman with your experience deserves an even more responsible position, Liz.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you see, Mac put Cass in charge of the Corey administration, so if he says it's so, it's as good as done.
Oh, my goodness, after all the terrible, horrible things I just said.
Oh, please, don't give it another thought.
Oh, he's marvelous.
Has anybody seen my father? You know, I'm starting to learn Mac's secrets. Like, never be in the office on days when everyone needs you.
Cass, look, something really important has come up. I need an immediate leave of absence.
Now, first, let's get down to particulars. Sandy, what schedule are you working on? What story do you have outstanding? And what's Bravo's closing date on this issue? Well, come on, people. We do want to publish a magazine, don't we?
Welcome back, Liz.
Stay tuned for the conclusion of Another World.
Please, come in. Louis, I want to apologize for dropping by on such short notice, but I have a request to make of you.
That's quite all right. Anything I can do. That will be all, Vincent. Thank you. Well, what can I do for you? Name it and it is yours, Brian.
Elena spoke to me today.
Mm-hmm. And what is on Elena's mind today?
A great deal, I'm afraid. It's about your daughter. Elena's told me everything. Elena's pleading to you through me not to tell Cecile the truth. Elena wants you to promise her that you won't tell Cecile that you're her father.
Well, once I do some tests on this, we'll know where it came from.
We already know where it came from. We got to find out who it came from.
Oh, well, you're in a fighting mood today, aren't you?
I sure am. I mean, even if it means I have to go back to Claxton and face all my ghosts, I'm going to fight until I find out what's been happening to me.
Yep, there she is again.
Who?
Oh, a tough little cookie I knew once named Blaine Ewing.
Oh, yeah? Would that be the same Blaine Ewing who used to crawl up the crabapple trees in the backyard and throw apples at you and you used to call her names?
Don't remind me. I think I still have the bruises.
Say, brother, can I ask you something?
If it has to do with crab apples and you hit me on the head, you can forget it.
No, it doesn't. Sit down. Remember when I was a little kid? Pa used to lock me in the closet. Say all those terrible things to me. Why didn't you ever try to stop him?
I wondered when you'd ask me that. I tried to stop him. Every time I did, he pulled me aside and said, you just added another 12 hours to her time in the closet. So the only way I could hope to get you out sooner was to do what he said.
Why didn't you ever tell me that?
I never could tell you because I couldn't bear your hating me for it.
Hating you? I could never hate you. Oh, I'm so glad you told me. I'm so glad to know what a wonderful brother I have.
You mean me?
Of course I mean you. And you watch me. I'm going to show you. I'm going to fight, and I'm going to win. I'm going to be a little sister you can be proud of.
Baby, I am already proud of you.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
This part of Another World was brought to you by Gleam, the toothpaste made for adults. It fights cavities and adult bad breath. Join us each weekday at this time for the continuing story of Another World.